Hello and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave. That's Scott. We are now reviewing. Yep, that's the side, Dave. Dave. Scott, who the hell? What? Anyway, I'm here. I'm here. You're there. We're all watching. We're all listening together. We are going to do The Force Awakens today.
Yeah.
That's episode 7 of the trilogy.
The third trilogy. So it's the
trilogy of trilogy.
The trilogy of trilogies.
I'm going to let Scott start on this one because I have notes. Scott has notes. Scott, what did you think?
Okay. When I first saw this in the theater, my first initial response was, fuck, I just watched episode 4 again. And in many ways, it really is. And I understand why Kasdan wrote it this way. We're trying to bring everybody back in and also have some fan service, some callbacks, some things that help tie it together. It makes sense. I just wish it would have been a little different. So I thought that he did a good job of writing hey, here's Star Wars. Everybody come on back, look at this. Right. You know, and I think it did it because I remember leaving. It's like, shit, I can't wait for the next one. This was good. So, I have a lot of nitpicking after that. I do like this movie, but,
us nitpick a movie?
Yeah. Because, and I'm just going to go through what my first note I have here. Finn, he clearly feels the Force. It's shown. This is Kasdan obviously wrote this, that Finn has got some Force powers. He may sense it. He may just be sensitive.
Yep.
And the chemistry and the connection that the actor has with Daisy Ridley really lends itself to be a couple right then and there. The writing's there. They're set up. The rescues, those two are meant to be together. It works so well.
Yep.
So that's one of the problems that I have on that. And one thing that really bothers me, and this is the thing and I'm not going to go too much into it because the next two movies totally shoot this down. When they're at Maz's cantina, Luke's lightsaber basically calls out to Rey. Why? Why Rey?
For those of you who can't see, because you're listening to the podcast, not the visual, my head's about to fucking explode, because that's one note that I don't get.
Well, here's the thing.
Sorry.
It is fucking, and we'll talk about Ruin next episode.
Yeah.
This is a setup. What I'm seeing here is here's the lightsaber calling out to a descendant, an ancestor, or a relation. And even they even make comments the way things are talked about. Rey is a fucking Skywalker. I don't care at this point. It's there.
Amen.
It's there, and you know what? I can even get. This is a hard one for me, but I'm going to get behind it. I did not know the Force could teach you how to fly ships, but it's pretty fucking cool that it does.
Yeah,
I'll get behind it. It's intuitive.
You how to use a lightsaber properly without cutting off your own
I'm just gonna throw that up because nobody had any sword fighting training. You don't need to have a lightsaber to learn how to sword fight. Finn might have.
Finn should have. We'll get to that part.
And
I think Finn could have done something.
The last note I have is I like how it is based in the reality that pretty much every generation, everybody forgets the past. Because here we have Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, admiring his grandfather, Darth Vader, but doesn't even know the fact that Darth Vader turned to the light. Would he worship him if he knew?
Or he just denies that it happened.
Yeah, so it's so much. Rey thinks Luke is a myth until she finds and actually face to face with Han.
Right.
So everybody has forgotten all of that, and it's like, wow, that's kind of how it happens now. It's like, do you motherfuckers know what happened 20 years ago? Why are we doing this shit? Yeah,
just
here we are.
What's going on in the real world? That's that's the kind of crap that's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my notes on it. I love it all in all. I think J.J. Abrams did a good job. The script is solid. It's a great introduction back in. Some neat characters. Yeah. Snoke in this is very menacing. He's big. I mean, yes, it's a hologram, but you get that impression. This is a bad motherfucker.
We'll
talk about the next movie.
Don't even get me started on that. I got the impression that Snoke was a last-minute thought.
You might be right.
By the time we get to the third movie, I might have to bite my tongue and just say, fuck it, I'm going to say it now. Oh no, I want to wait. I gotta wait and give my opinion in the next movie.
That's what I want to talk how this movie sets things up. We'll talk about where it goes after that.
I'll bullet point my notes because some of mine actually go with yours. Opening scene. I like the interior shot of the dropship with the light flashing and the stormtroopers standing there as they're coming down the planet.
That was cool.
That was kind of a neat shot. I thoroughly like that. I like Poe's character, but I feel like they tried to improve on Han Solo, like make him even cooler than Han Solo. And he's
a dollar store Han Solo, and it's not working.
he could have been just a cool character. He could have just been a really good pilot. But there's a scene when they're on the planet. They just blew the shit out of Maz's temple that's 1,000 years old. These people had no respect for artifacts.
Shocking.
Anyway, they blow the shit out of the temple. Everybody's arrested. Poe and his forces show up. I counted 10 TIE fighters that Poe shot down in a matter of a minute.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, if this guy isn't force sensitive, nobody is, number one. Number two, planet side, his X-Wing was doing shit the X-Wing couldn't have done in actual atmosphere. It just, no vehicle can do that. Unless, of course, you're a flying saucer and you have your shields up. But you don't have shields up when you're planet side in this movie, as far as I know. I could be wrong. Maybe there's somebody who knows better than I do about the science of Star Wars.
Well, I would say there's some and very little, too. Both.
Kylo Ren's voice in this costume doesn't work for me.
It doesn't me either. I always thought, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, it doesn't sound right. The costume doesn't bother me. I think when he took his helmet off, they should have his face should have been all effed up.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have looked like the guy that took off, because you take off his helmet and you're automatically not like, really? I'm afraid of you.
Well, that's just it. And mad props to Adam Driver. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
He's a great actor. Yeah.
And he really brought the emotion of Kylo Ren to it. But I think a lot of it with the helmet was he's just so enamored with his grandfather and so that he's going to emulate him every way he can with the helmet, even down to the voice change. So maybe that's what that was or where they were going. But like you, he didn't seem menacing, especially when you see him kind of arguing with the Weasley, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I have a note about the Weasley. Yeah, he's not menacing. Weasley's not even afraid of him at that point.
No, he's just like, fuck you, I'm going to Snoke. Bitch. Weasley, I don't know what is the character's name?
I don't remember the character's name.
I'm sorry, it's a Weasley.
About Weasley, and I wrote down Weasley. It's horrible. The biggest problem that I have with them turning in this movie, the disturbance Kylo feels is Finn in the Force, not Rey. He hasn't even met Rey, doesn't know anything about Rey. She hasn't even showed up yet.
No.
He knows that Finn
off the bat
waking up in the Force. Yep. I think that's how Finn broke his programming. I think the Force programming. I think he broke through it.
That was Finn's first battle.
Yeah.
He broke it on his first fucking battle. So yes, there is.
He was not going to just murder innocent people. It just wasn't in his nature.
And he was able to override his programming.
That's how I always felt about that. So
I'll give you that.
Whatever. I made a note about KK, but I left it alone. Phasma was a really cool character. I dug her armor. I thought she was a good addition.
Good addition, but kind of underutilized.
Yeah, I made a note there. She should have done more in that entire series.
Yes.
She should have been, in my opinion, the Darth Vader to Kylo Ren's Emperor. You know what I mean? That's how badass this chick was, and she was more menacing than Kylo Ren.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In or out of the armor, it didn't matter to me. I think she was much more menacing.
I do like how Finn finally gets to go at her.
Yeah, he snaps.
He fucking snaps.
I think this is one of the reasons I think maybe Poe had some Force ability. Poe can understand BB-8, and so can Rey. They talk. They literally will have a conversation.
Finn can't.
Finn could kinda. He could figure out what he could get the intimation of what BB-8 was talking about.
Right.
But I don't think he could carry on a conversation where Rey could sit there and say, "No, it's over the hill. Go to the city."
I know. She was just boom, boom, boom.
She's like, "No, it's this and that." And she's having a conversation. She can understand. Poe could understand most of what he was saying. That's why I think Poe had some power, Force power too. But what kills me is if that's supposed to be the case, why didn't Kylo pick it up when he was pulling the stuff out of his mech? Was he just not as strong? He just had like a certain ability? I don't know.
I don't know, because I got, it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's for you watchers and listeners to listen.
I'm not sure.
If you think I'm right, let me know. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. I could be wrong. That's what I pick up.
Let me expand on that.
Okay.
To me, it was very clear. I got the impression that everybody in this universe, it seems like we've moved back away from the midichlorians, and now we're back to the Force as a universal force, and that anybody can tap into, anybody could use.
Which it explains because Kasdan wrote it.
Exactly. And I left this movie feeling that even Han Solo could use some of the Force.
To some extent, had a tap.
He did, because he actually mentions that it's real. It's real. He believes. Now,
real.
Speaking of Han, and I know you got a point coming, but I just really have to mention this. Does everybody really believe that in 30-something years of hanging out with your best bud Wookiee throughout everything, that this is the first time you actually asked to fire his weapon?
You don't just shoot your friend's guns.
Yeah, but in 30 years, it's going to happen.
It was a good effect, though. It was a nice.
It's a good scene, but it's like, really, this is the first time you've used the bowcaster? I know, it's like, it's cool, fun, but it's like, really? Now?
You know how big that fucking bowcaster was, though? I wouldn't even have tried to shoot that thing.
Yeah, but in 30 years, you probably would have.
30 years, I might have wanted to try it out. Why is Weasley in charge of the Imperial fleet?
I don't know.
Because Kat asked me the same question. Why is there a Weasley in charge of the Imperial fleet?
Them damn Weasleys.
I just died laughing. I had to hurry and write that down before I forget. They just get into so much trouble.
Yeah.
I like the new TIE fighters. Those new TIE fighters were kick ass.
Very cool.
The gunner in the back looking in the wrong direction, but the screen was showing them what was going forward and back. It's just such a cool.
It was a really cool design.
Yeah, I like that. FN2187. Kylo knows who he is, and he knows he's Force sensitive. Why didn't he go get him when he took Rey?
It's a good point. Good question.
Should have been, because I know you know he go when. Sorry, I'm stuttering. You know he goes to the planet to get BB-8.
Mm-hmm.
He finds the girl pretty much by accident because somebody says the girl ran into the woods with the android. So he's going in there for the android, but he finds the girl. So he takes her, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but okay. Don't you think that he would go there because he can sense Finn? why would you not take Finn with you? That's a big plot point.
It is a big plot point, and I think it could be explained. And this is just, it is bullshit because this is coming up with the answer after the fact. Right. I think it's a hole. I think you're on it, but maybe Kylo or Ben has just not trained far enough because it does seem like when he's talking with Snoke that he has not finished his training at all. So, and
here's to add on to what you just said. Why would you put that guy in charge of everything if he's not been finished fully trained? That's like, hey, Bob, you're a cook. I just hired you to be the head chef here over at this fancy dancy restaurant. I don't know how to cook. That's okay.
Now, is there has anybody written anything about the First Order, how it came about? Is that
I stopped reading the books after they killed Chewbacca. And that was 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh, good. Now I'm not going to read the books because I'm not going there.
I'm not sure which book it happens in, but I know that when I got to that point, I actually flipped to the back of the book to see. I was like, I'm missing something. What happens? How do they save Chewbacca from this? He was dead. I went to the next book in the thing.
Oh no!
One mentioned Chewbacca. Like I flicked through it and I shut that book where they killed him. Set it down. I took every book from that book after that I had purchased and gave them to a guy that I worked with that loves Star Wars. I said, here you go. I'm done buying their fucking books. I haven't bought another Star Wars book.
You know what? You haven't changed one bit, and I admire that.
Do not ruin my fucking story by killing a main character like Han Solo. Which is coming up in one of my notes.
All right.
Oh yeah, whenever she asks, whenever Rey asks Finn, "Are you with the Resistance?" Hell yeah, I'm with the Resistance, cutie patootie. Hell yeah, I am. Yeah, what? Want to go back to my place? I'm a Resistance fighter. Shit yeah. Use that, Finn. Use that. She's into you.
And it is so funny because Han instantly looks at him and he sees the bullshit right there. It's like
he already knows this guy's no Resistance fighter. He's trying to get the hell. Resistance fighter run towards danger. This guy's running in the opposite direction. This guy is me running in the opposite direction.
Yes.
These two characters, Rey and Finn, have so much. You hinted on it already. Yeah. So much chemistry between the two of them. The actors, the characters, everything worked perfectly from the moment they spot each other.
Dude, that's a real life couple. If I saw them walking down the street together, just even as friends, I would think they were a couple because it's just there.
Exactly. And I will say this about the next two movies only. There's a scene where he keeps grabbing her hand and she's like, let me go, let me go. And I think they're on the one Death Star planet where he grabs her and runs. They should have kept having that through all three movies, where every time they were in danger, she's like walking towards it, and he's grabbing her and running the other direction. Like, no, we're going, we're out of
here. Now, in this one, when you're talking about that scene when they're running away, they end up stealing the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
He starts off grabbing her hand. She's like, "Why you keep grabbing my hand?" Then they show her reach out and grab his and go.
That's right. I forgot about that. There's only one line that I would have changed in that when they're running, and he goes, "What about that ship there?" And she says, "That's a piece of garbage." She should have said, "That's a hunk of junk."
Oh,
when Princess Leia sees it on the Death Star, she says, "You know that hunk of junk?" That's what she should have called it. That thing's a hunk of junk. We'll take the hunk of junk.
One of my favorite parts in the movie, though, is when Rey's like, "This is the Millennium Falcon. This ship did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs." I'm like, "Oh shit, no, she didn't."
It's like 12. And then I looked over at the old lady last night. I was like, "Yeah, it's 12 when you round down, buddy."
Yep.
What am I at? Should have called the hunk of Millennium. And when we were at the theater, the Millennium Falcon got the largest applause out of anybody showing up. I don't know how it was in yours. Ours was the fucking theater exploded when they went running to it. Then Han Solo and Chewbacca show up. Really big applause. By the time Leia shows up, it's a good applause. By the time Luke showed up, nobody gave a fuck. Everybody's like, yeah, okay, you fine. Oh, he's finally in the fucking movie. Good call.
At the end, Hey, let me ask you something about that. Since you just mentioned Luke, maybe I missed something, but this whole premise, this whole setup sounded a little weird. We have a map to Luke Skywalker. What? Mm-hmm. Who has a map to where somebody lives? What? You just
right.
I don't understand it. I'm lost. Did somebody just kind of piece together some stuff to make a map?
I think he gave his chunk that BB-8 had. I think that was given to that older guy. So basically, here's where I'm at, but you have to have a bigger map for this to go into.
Okay, so he wanted to be able to be found, but he just needed.
If you really, really need me and the whole universe is falling apart, come find me. Kind of thing.
Thank you, because I was like, I don't understand this.
That's how I took it.
I would like to think Leia could have found him, and she even herself said that she always thought she could.
She's got the sense. I guess one of the things that I have to say about this, I has to wait until episode 2 because I have a complaint. Okay. Whenever we go through episode 2. When did Kung Fu Hustle actually start a gang in space?
I know, right? That was my car. Holy shit, the front door's open on each side. It's like, oh, hell.
Again, not going to take credit for that. The old lady said, look, it's the guys from Kung Fu Hustle. And I just died. I was like, oh, my God.
It was, dude.
The rest of the X Games, yes. Come on and start doing a dance.
My thoughts exactly. Yeah. Yeah, pretty comical moment there.
I like that. He tries to talk his way out. I always talk my way out. Yes, I do. Chewie's like, no, you don't.
This is what's cool. That's a different. Peter Mayhew had passed, and that is I can't
no, he
think
was
of the
still
guy's
training this is the movie where he was training the guy.
Okay, but this is the new guy then. Okay.
Yeah, this is the new guy in Peter Mayhew. Sitting down as Peter Mayhew.
Okay.
Standing up as the new guy.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you for that bit. I didn't know. Because I'm thinking chronological, but yeah.
Yeah, that's how I took it from special features that I was watching.
What's really cool, though, is the chemistry that Harrison Ford has with this new actor.
Yeah, the kid.
It's almost as if he just fell right into the spot. It's. Yep. I don't feel that's somebody different.
No, you look at that and you're like, shit, that's Chewbacca.
That's Chewbacca. Yeah, and I felt that way in Solo as well. It's like, that's fucking Chewbacca.
Peter Mayhew trained him how to be Chewie.
I
guess the guy was watching movies, but he would also show him how to tilt his head and then how to look around and move his head back and forth. Like he was teaching the kid how to be Chewie. I have a feeling Peter Mayhew knew he was on his way out.
Yeah.
And I think he was just trying to keep his character that he created alive, and God bless him for doing it.
He did. Because this guy does it really well.
Latched onto it, did a good job, such a good job.
Okay,
yeah. Here's another thing. This is one little thing that kind of bothered me when they jumped into into the Millennium Falcon. Then they're in the bridge, not the bridge, the dock, and he hits light speed to get out of there. Shouldn't have blown up that entire freaking ship. That's my problem. All you see is these guys falling backwards. I'm like, those guys would have been disintegrated. The energy coming out of the ass end of the Millennium Falcon to go to light speed should have blown a hole all the way through that ship, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with
those creatures were cool.
Oh my God, those creatures reminded me something out of D&D.
I know, but I was laughing. I found it very comical. These giant mouths with tentacles just sucking things up, and it was like, this is hilarious.
The mouth would opened, and it looked like a grinder kind of thing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, you ain't coming out of that, man.
And it was just such an accident when Rey hits the button. Oops.
Well, she's like following the lines. He's like, it's this one. Wham. Oops. What do you mean, oops? What do they look like? They look like one of those.
Yeah.
That was a good scene. And I like whenever Finn gets grabbed by the tentacle, he's just being dragged down the hallway and he's screaming. And she's looking at the monitor. This is why she could fly. And I had no problem with this being the mechanic that she is, because you figure out that she knows how to.
She knows how things work. Yep.
She knows how things work really well because she's like following the diagram. She's looking at the television. She's seeing where he is on the board. She's figured out, okay, this is the door. Wham! She hits the button closes the door. Fucking tentacles are. He's getting the tentacles up. He's like, "Did you see that?" She's like, "Amazing," and then runs.
Yeah, like,
she don't even say, "I'm the one who saved you, dummy."
no.
That's amazing, or that's lucky, or whatever she said.
Yeah, something like that. Just kind of blew it off.
Snoke and Kylo are talking about Finn, not Rey. I have to reiterate that.
Yep.
That was all Finn. The awakening force was Finn, not Rey. He didn't figure out Rey until he tries to pull the shit out of her head.
And she realizes, oh, fuck, I got powers.
And it basically backfires on her. But with that said, it's bringing in another universe, Star Trek, when the Vulcans do a mind meld, they're very careful not to go certain ways. They look for a specific piece of information. They follow a path to that information, and they follow the path back out. They supposedly don't do it the other way because then that other person can get into your head too. So when I looked at it that way, I was like, well, of course, he didn't have any blocks up. He was.
Well, yeah, because she saw right away. She started reading him.
He was going in full throttle, and he didn't give a shit. He's just walking. It's like walking through a building and just knocking shit over and expecting nobody to say anything. Well, guess what? She got into his head, and that freaked him out. That's what broke it. That's what broke his concentration. She wasn't trying to get into his head, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think it just happened, and then she started pushing.
I think she just followed the path back. Then, like I think almost on a subconscious level. Right. She just kind of followed him back and then realized, oh shit, I'm in your head. Oh, how does it feel? And he didn't like it. He's like, oh, that's what that feels like. I don't like it. I'm going to tell Snoke.
I do find it really cool that Kylo Ren has got enough power to stop a fucking blast, a laser blast. I thought that was a cool scene right at the very begining.
I think Vader does that in Rogue One. At the end, I believe
you're right.
I think they put, but I think that was probably was Rogue One before all these? I don't remember. My
I don't remember. I don't think so. Now. I think it came later.
Whoever did that blast, somebody pulled it from the other one. Is all I'm going to say. Somebody was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea," and did it.
That's a cool
idea.
I
like how it just hovers there.
Yeah. And
then it goes and blows up, and Finn jumps about 2 feet out of his costume. Real quick, I only got a couple more notes. Maz was a wasted character. She had such a big part, such an integral part in this movie. Wasted character. Hey, Death Star planet. Dumb idea. Please think of an original idea. It was dumb. It was stupid. There's nothing. My mind could not accept that you could suck energy from the sun the way that they were doing it and not blow up your planet. I don't give a crap what kind of equipment you got. I don't give a shit what you got going on. I don't care. Yeah. I'm not buying it. No. Death Star, Death Planet, no, not buying it.
I do like how, I think it might have even been Han said on the Death Star.
we can blow this thing up. He's just saying we can blow this up, right? I think it would have better suited them had 3 or 4 Star Destroyer carrier type things that had capability of wiping out planets, and it would have been a bigger, what's the word I'm looking for? It would have been a bigger gun on the mantle, because then not only do you have one thing, you got 3 or 4 of these things you have to chase and kill, and you have to get through a star fleet to get to them. You know what I mean? Each one's got like 40 ships around it. That would have worked better for me. That would have been like, how in the hell? They're going to hold us hostage. These ships can blow up a planet. There's 6 of them or 4 of them or whatever. That's, again, something else to talk about later. But that would have worked better for me. It would have fit better in my head. Anybody out there think differently, let me know, because I just thought the Star Destroyer Planet Death Star was stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Star Killer Base is an appropriate name because they did say once they drain the star, it's dead. And it's like, well, then so it's every planet around, even the one you're on.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
You guys aren't thinking this through very well.
No, they were not very smart, and it shows. But,
it took a long time to energize that weapon.
It was cool. If this was the first time I've seen anything like this and I hadn't seen the Death Star before and everything, I think this would be really cool. It's like, oh, wow, that's amazing.
I think that's a bigger problem. I think it's the biggest problem that saw it already. saw it already, and it was done better.
There we
Whereas
go.
this one is like, really, you guys are really pushing. You guys are really, you're trying too hard.
Trying way too hard.
I think Kasdan might have been overruled in this particular thing. He's probably like,
he
no,
wanted the Death Star 3.
And they're like, no. Do what?
He wanted Death Star 3.
Yeah, he's like, we'll just build another Death Star. No, we can't do that. Which I still would have been okay with a third Death Star. I would have understood it because they're so arrogant that, they're not going to blow this one up. Blew up 2 other motherfuckers, man. Of course they're going to blow this one up. Finn used the Force to clear his brainwashing. I already said that. The real-time space kabooms don't happen like that. Whenever Starkiller Base shoots and they're on their planet and they're watching the thing in real time fly by, I'm like, no. It's going to take 1,000 years or more for that light to get to the planet you're on because you're not all in the same goddamn star system.
Well, and that's why this whole thing doesn't work. And I was just like, okay, there's no way it gets to another planet. This makes no sense. A 3rd grade science student could figure this shit out, and it's not how this works. And
well, they're even trying to say that it's a what do they call it, a quantum speed light speed weapon or some shit. And I'm like,
they came up with that shit after the fact because that probably was not going in. So we'll just make up some bullshit.
I'm like, I don't care what you call it.
Yeah.
You're it's not going to happen that fast. B, you're not going to see it from any planet except the one that it's coming to, and you're going to have plenty of time to get rid of your people. In that universe, with the technology they had plenty of time to get rid of, to evacuate the planets.
Yeah.
But again, that's where this story really falls apart for me. I want to talk.
That is a weird one. Yeah.
I want to talk real quick about Han.
Yes.
Han sacrificing himself.
I don't think he
doesn't never ever worked for me. It was a shit way to kill that character. There was nothing, and there are no guardrails.
I know OSHA's having a field day with that fucking Empire.
Again.
Is not about safety.
Fucking OSHA all over the place. Anyway, I didn't like how he just goes out there and starts talking to his son. There is an easy way to fix this. His son's going back and forth, and it could have been part of a conversation where Han's like, if you kill me because you're mad at me, you're going to go to the dark side. And he has to have his son have a moment of love, like, Dad, I don't want to do this. Please help me. That would have been different if Han took the lightsaber and shot it into himself and killed himself. That would have been sacrificing himself to his son, to save his son. So his son always has that doubt, that moment of doubt, oh shit, this is what love is. This man just killed himself to save me. That could have been the thing that kept him from always going to the dark side completely. Okay, that would have worked. Don't know how you would have written it. Kasdan was smart enough and good enough to do it. A better way of doing it for me, and then I want to hear how you would fix this. Best way would have been all 3 of them are running out towards Millennium Falcon. Kylo Ren and some stormtroopers show up. Bang, 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 another shootout. Blah, 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 blah. Somehow, Kylo takes out Rey and Finn. He's getting ready to kill Rey. All of a sudden, the blue lightsaber goes across the red, and it's his dad. And his dad is no fucking chump. His dad's been hanging out with a Jedi Master for 30 fucking years, and his kids could even say something to the effect you don't know how to use that. And he's like, who do you think your uncle used to spar with? And then go into a pose, and they could have fought, and he could have died like Ben Kenobi died.
Yeah,
giving his life to save these people. And Rey and Finn, one of them could have been waking up as Han Solo dies.
Yeah.
And that's when you have the big fight between, one or the other.
Yeah.
And then the planet starts to fall apart and go. That would have been a much better death for Han Solo to die saving those 2 people that he knows the rest of the world is going to love, that it's up to them now kind of thing. That would have worked better for me. And it would have been a much better, more honorable death, I think, for that character. And people who sit there and say, well, people really die like that. This isn't reality. This is a superimposed reality. This is heroic reality. That's what you got to look for. That's what you write for when you write something like that. And a death of Han Solo, that's a chump way to kill that character, in my opinion.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Star Wars universe is filled with chump ways to die.
Yeah.
For big characters. Thankfully, Boba Fett did actually live and survive the pit.
Right.
But yeah, Darth Maul. It's just like, that's a whole nother thing. But when it comes to this, you had mentioned that you thought that Han and Ben could have like a moment there. And I want to say that it felt like to me they were trying to do that, but it didn't translate well. It's like, are you seeing that he's good? Because he's playing your ass. Are they trying to make it seem like he's having a moment? But I didn't get that. And that's
like that piece of conversation. If that's what was supposed to have been going on, and it was actually Han doing that, they needed to make that much clearer.
It's not clear at all.
Like Ben was trying to pull back the lightsaber
but I didn't get that impression at all. I got the impression Han was fighting away, and it's like, you know, you could have switched that, and this would have been this would have had a lot more power, and I could have taken that more. But yeah, it's a chump death, and it's like, I felt so bad for Chewie. You know, it's like, fuck.
And I said this last night, the next two movies should have been Chewbacca literally hunting Kylo Ren. It should have been him hunting Kylo Ren, and the other two just going with him. Like, fuck that guy. Like, fuck that guy. Yeah, we're with you. And the rest of the, like, resistance or whatever they are is like, are you guys crazy? Yes, we're fucking crazy. He just killed this guy's pet, you know, for lack of a better term. You know, he's the most evil guy in the galaxy right now. We're going to go kill him. Well, you can't go kill him. We're going to kill him now.
Yeah. I want to mention something about the most evil guy in the galaxy. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
His character made no sense.
Thank you. Yes, I know in the upcoming movies we find out he's really not that different from Anakin. He kills children and all of that.
Well, they tried to answer it in the next, and it doesn't work. The answer is
nothing still works, because it's like, well, even with this, if I just stick on this movie, I don't see him as menacing at all. I saw Darth Vader menacing because he was big, he was imposing, and people feared him. Nobody feared Kylo Ren, really. So how was he in charge? Weasley's like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. I got snuck in my pocket.
Weasley was never afraid of him.
Never.
It's like, no, you're a little jerk in a costume. I don't care. Force powers, boo-hoo. Get out of my face. You know?
Yeah. I think Weasley could have taken him.
He almost did. He almost was. That's later. But yeah, all in all, I mean, I know I had a lot of little notes. Most of my notes are just crappy little notes. The thing that ruins this movie for me is Han Solo's death.
Yeah.
It should have been much more heroic. I don't know how. I know Harrison Ford, I saw him in an interview go, no, this is a great way for him to go. And I'm like, you don't believe that. There's no way in hell you believe that was a good scene. If you do, you need to go back to acting class. And I don't think you do.
He doesn't. And I want to say, I bet you, and this is just me just throwing something out there. Harrison Ford has made it very clear that he'd rather talk about anything
but Star Wars.
And you know what? I get it. Even though it's made him, he's got so much more under his belt. Right. He is more than Han. Yeah. And I get that as a person. Hey guys, I've done more things. So he's like, yeah, fine. Finally, I'm fucking dead. This is perfect. Maybe that's how he's like, yeah.
That might have been what it was. Like, I don't care how you kill me off. I don't care if I slip on a banana peel and go over the edge.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
There's no railings.
So I must fall. But here's the thing. He's still, even if that's the case, I would never know that he's tired of Star Wars, because God damn it, he was Han Solo in this movie.
And he comes back again.
I know. I know.
It's for another movie.
That's why he knows how to use the Force.
Or something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah,
we'll get there.
That's the scene. That's the scene that really bothers me in this movie.
Yeah.
Is Han Solo's death. It's like, really? Because I know everybody was like, in the theater was like, what? Like, everybody knew he was going to die. And we kept trying to guess. Like, you could hear people mumble, like, oh, this is where it's going to happen. This is what. When he walked out on the deck, I was like, there's no way. This is not how. He is not going to get punked out. Yep.
Yeah, that was a bad call.
It was a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
Horrible scene. Like I said, I think it would have worked better had, even if they all three wouldn't have been running across the snow, it would have been two, and Kylo caught the other two and was getting ready to come down on a swing, and all of a sudden the blue lightsaber's there. That would have still worked, because it could have still been the, you can't take me. And he would have been like, who do you think your uncle sparred with? I'm the only non-Force user that he's ever sparred with.
I think that would have been actually really fucking cool.
You better think twice, son. Kind of thing. Daddy's going to spank son now. But, I mean, he could have fucking injured the shit out of his son. Like, he could have been the one doing the lightsabers to the shoulder and, to the leg and fucking his son up. And then finally, trying not to kill him. And basically show how much further his son had to learn. Yeah,
I really wish Rey would have cut his hand off.
See, I thought she did. One of the first time I saw that, I thought she did.
I thought so too when I watched last night. Did he just lose his hand?
That's kind of cool, but then he's got his hand. I'm like, whoa, no, I guess not.
No. What about, I want to take a moment for my favorite character in this movie is actually BB-8.
I love BB-8. He's a good character.
The team in charge of BB-8 and animating and making this such a living droid is mind-blowing. This motherfucker's got attitude. I love Star Wars because it has the snarkiest droids in the world. They're sarcastic assholes, and I love it. And BB-8's no exception. I never know what BB-8 says, but I know what BB-8's thinking.
Yeah, but
with a little head tilt and a move and a look, and it's like, oh my god, I love you, I want one.
Like when they're on the Millennium Falcon, and he's trying to get BB-8 to tell Rey where the hideout is, and he's like, "Droid, please."
Droid, please.
I'll make sure you get back. Just say, I don't know. I'm a stormtrooper. I'm trying to hide. I'm running away. And I think what BB-8's character picked up on was the fact that this is a human being totally honest with him and doesn't have to be honest with him.
Yeah.
And then whenever he's like, thanks, and then BB-8's
little lighter, a little torch.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
When she's trying to fix whatever's going to kill him, then she's pointing. She's like, no. The thing I'm pointing at. How many times have you had somebody do that to you, or you've done that to somebody? You're like, no, that. The thing I'm pointing at is what I need.
Yeah.
How many times have you done that or had it done to you?
Yeah.
You're like, this.
It's a great character. The droids always have been, and BB-8 to me is such a...
BB-8's awesome.
Yeah, I like that R2's back, but I thought that was very weak. That R2 had droid depression.
Well, no, the way I took that wasn't droid depression. I took that as he was shut down purposely until Luke came back, or until that other map piece came into his area, and then whatever was on that map would turn him back on, would reactivate.
I could buy that, except C-3PO said otherwise, and it's like, are you telling me?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he said ever since Luke's gone, he's put himself into low power mode, and I don't think we'll ever be the same or whatever. It's like
I just took it that he was shut down because he was waiting.
And you may be right, and I hope you are. But in the same universe that gave us Natalie Portman's Padme dying of broken heart, droid depression makes perfect fucking sense. Now,
I think he would have been a little bit more depressed that Ben Kenobi bought it. His former master was the Darth Vader.
Yeah,
if you ever going to just shut down, I would think it'd be that time.
If a droid can have PTSD, it will be R2-D2. This motherfucker has seen some shit.
Everything.
He's been
60, 70 years, and he was around before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Wow, how would you like to find out that R2-D2 was around during the Sith Wars? That would be interesting.
It would. It would.
Mhm.
One of the main themes in this particular movie is, and this is without me talking too much about it, this is one of the things that makes me incredibly infuriated with the coming movies.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, I never used to be.
You're
Dave knows
welcome.
that. I'm like they're okay, you know, and they are. And I have my issues with the. We'll talk about those moments.
Right.
But this whole movie sets up a lot, and we are following Ray, who is, for lack of a better word, an orphan,
Mhm.
dropped off on a planet. She's clearly waiting for her parents. All she wants to do is get back to Jakku because they're going to come. They're going to come back for her.
Yeah.
And as somebody, I personally have things in my life that make me relate to Ray
Mhm.
perfectly as that person waiting for the
Right.
rescue, waiting for the people to come back in your life, and you know, the ones that are supposed to be there, and then that never happens, and the search for oneself. And that's one of the things they're setting up in here is Ray knows who she is. I think Maz even tells her,
Yeah.
you know, look inside, you know. And it's like, oh, anyway, so it's all set up for that. And
Mhm.
then we get to the next coming up movies, and that's, you know, all I can say about it. I really like this movie as a setup, a
Yeah.
reintroduction, a continuation. Yes, it's got issues with Han's punk ass death,
Mhm.
but
Important.
it's fun. How about the fucking Millennium Falcon landing at light speed, popping
Yeah.
into a
Nobody's
planet
ever
at
tried
light
that
speed?
before.
He's like, I got an idea, but you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. If I told you, you wouldn't
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, that was it. Yeah,
She's just, her eyes get really big, like,
she
oh
knows. She
shit.
knows.
He's
Yeah.
gonna do something stupid and crazy. But yeah, that was a cool scene that nobody's ever done it. Now all of a sudden in the next, anyway, we'll
Yes.
talk about that later.
It's hard because we know what's to come. I'm
Yeah,
trying to look at this as somebody who
as
just
its
seen this,
own
and
movie.
as its own movie. I think honestly, and I'm gonna say this, they should have stopped right now. If the upcoming shit was what we were gonna get, we could
Mhm.
stop it right here.
They should have
I'd be
stopped.
happy.
The thing, one of the things, they didn't plan out 3 movies.
Obviously not,
They
because
denied it.
Kasdan just wrote one.
Well, what the thing is, when they were asked about it blankly, point blank, oh, no, no, we had this all planned. We had all this planned. We had all this planned. And then a moment of truth with J.J. Abrams said they didn't plan anything. I did one movie, set it up, and walked away.
Shit.
You know, and I'm sitting there thinking, why, dipshit, didn't you take a 3 movie deal then? Because I didn't want to be tied up. Well, you know what? You
I
know,
didn't want to be tied up with the most successful, giant, biggest fucking thing in the world.
he
No.
had to have known how bad Ruin Johnson was going to ruin it. But that's, again, they didn't have the 3 movies set up. They didn't have anything plotted out. They didn't have anything except the one movie, and
Yeah.
it shows badly later on. So yeah, but this has got Kath. You can start seeing Kathleen Kennedy's fingers getting deeper and deeper into this shit. That's all I'm gonna say. She
Yeah,
tried.
we'll talk about
Tried
that
in
because
Solo. She tried in Rogue One and failed miserably because somebody overruled her. Thank God. This one you can start seeing her fingers in it a little bit more, and that's where the problem starts. It falls right on her shoulders, right on her feet, right on her the forces woman attitude. You know, I don't mind a powerful character, but there was no character development for Rey.
and that's a shame.
Rey came out of the box fully formed with the Force. Everything she did was fabulous. Everything was fabulous. I'm fabulous. I can fabulously build, a mechanic thing. I can fabulously build and talk to androids. I can fabulously fly a fucking spaceship that I've never fucking flown before. I can fabulously fly better than Han Solo. I can fabulously, magically use a fucking lightsaber.
As I said, she's insanely powerful. That's my note. It's like, wow, wait a minute. But okay.
And it's beyond bad writing. It was dumb writing. And Kasdan, there's 2 other people that wrote with him, and I don't see who it was. I don't know. I don't think he came back for the last 2. I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
I'll have to double check.
Rian Johnson wrote the next one, obviously.
After this one, he just probably threw his arms up and went, "You guys don't want to have a good story. I'm leaving." And
I wondered about that. Yeah.
And
that's why I sent you that text that I just ran across that there's a documentary with Kasdan coming up. And that looks really interesting.
I don't blame Kasdan for everything in this movie, by God, but I do blame him for the good stuff in this movie. Because there was good storytelling. Her character should have been getting built. There should have been moments when Rey was saved by someone, or trained, or showed something by someone that she had never seen or been trained by before. You know what I mean? There should.
We don't get her journey
where she was learning. There was no journey. There's no journey.
There is no journey.
I jumped in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and I knew how to fly it.
Yeah. There's no journey. There's no
journey there. I think she said she never flew before. Yeah. I never flew a ship before. No, so it's not like she's like, I only flew crop dusters before. If it would have been, I only flew on planet side before, but I never flew in space, I would have been like, oh, okay, it can't be that big of a jump in that technology. You know what I mean? I would have accepted it a little bit easier. Finn, why wasn't Finn flying? Wasn't Finn a pilot?
I don't know. He was just.
Or was he just a soldier?
Was he infantry?
Just a soldier? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Now I could see Poe Dameron jumping on the Falcon and flying jumping like
right in the seat and going. I get that.
That brings me to one of my favorite scenes when Poe and Finn are escaping, and the TIE fighter is still tethered, and they're stuck.
Don't worry, I got this. I like how that one guy's looking at the ship, and all of a sudden they just opens fire on the commander's unit, whatever the bridge area is. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Good. There was a lot of good in this movie. There really is.
There's good characters.
A lot of people shit on it left and right, but there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There are bad things. The character development was lacking.
When Finn and Poe crash on Jakku, we're never told how the fuck Poe got away. He said he was thrown. Well, yeah, so was Finn.
I was going to say, I was expecting... You know what? You're right. You're right. I just took it that he was ejected out and maybe landed like a mile or 2 miles away, like parachute kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was odd. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah. So maybe he was near another settlement or something and got away from there. But it was just kind of weird. That's a good character. It was good to see the people come back and Leia and all of that. All in all, like I said, I recommend this movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not. It's
you
not
can stop right there.
Yeah. As
pretty much stop
talking with, I was watching with Janine last night. She's like, this is good, but I can put in the original trilogy over and over and over, and it's still just as entertaining every time I watch it. If it may be the 50th viewing, it's still as entertaining. This, not going to hold.
She's right. She's absolutely right.
Absolutely is.
100% right. I give you a thumbs up for that, Gene.
So, final thoughts on The Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's all in all, it's a pretty good movie. It's got its problems. It's got its character development or non-character development problems.
Yeah, it does have that.
But all in all, I mean, I like the character development of Finn. Mm-hmm. I actually kind of like the little bit of time that Poe shows up. I just think he was, like you said, the poor man's Han Solo. I think is what you said.
He's a great actor.
He was a cool character.
Yeah.
But I think they tried to make him too cool. He was supposed to be better than Han Solo. Well, no, you're not. You didn't do the Kessel run in 12 parsecs. It is when you round down, pal. It is when you round down. But all in all, it's a good movie. I mean, get away from Han Solo's death, and it's fine.
Yeah, I will say that's as that was coming up. I told Janine last night. I said, "Well, here we are, the worst part of the movie. I can just fast forward this right now because I just don't like it. It's one thing to lose a beloved character. It's another to be a chump about it.
There's a guy that I follow on YouTube, Chris Gore, and I forgot what shows he on Screen. I want to say Screen Rant, but I don't think that's right. But he talks about this. He's a movie critic. He's a writer, and he's talked about this and how you had the three main characters and they never had screen time together. Is why would you have all three of these people in this movie? You've made this big promise to the audience, and they're not all on screen together at any one time. These are the people that you want to see saving the galaxy again. If you're gonna have them, use them. They didn't use them, and that's one other little problem that I have with this.
Yeah.
Not used well.
If here's the thing, if you're going to jump into this universe, it should have been primarily, I'm with you and him and others on this. If this were, we should have seen Luke a lot more, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando.
Yeah, definitely. Lando should have been in this.
So, and I would see them dealing with this, and you would have the young upstarts. You'd have a cocky fighter pilot, Poe. Damn, a cocky fighter pilot, right. Poe. Yeah. So, and you would, it is hard to say, and you would have Finn, not defective. Damn, I can't talk anymore, but someone who defected from the Empire, and Rey, who's just like trying to find herself. And I think that could have made something much more, because that's what we wanted to see.
It would have worked better had Rey been getting chased by the Empire or whatever the hell they're calling themselves now.
Yeah.
And Luke finding her or Leia finding her. And you find out that Leia's a Jedi. Who saw that coming? You know, Leia maybe started training her and is like, okay, I've trained you pretty good. I got to take you to the Master Jedi now and find
Luke.
Which is Luke. And, you know, they're all training, and then maybe Poe's like somehow got involved in this. So all of a sudden Han's like, fuck, this guy reminds me of me. He's all right. And you have to get Finn in there. Finn, who's got ability, maybe he just stumbles in on everybody. You know, there's so much that they could have done and differently.
We could talk about that for years.
Reason not to. But it all could have worked. It could have. It could have been a different. It would have been a completely different movie.
I would have liked to seen him treat it more like Marvel has treated its handoff of the main characters into others. Is because we never see this here. It's like, oh, here's your new Star Wars people. What? You know, it's like we said, we need some introduction.
Thor's not going to work.
Do what?
Girl Thor's not going to work. I'm calling it now. The comics didn't sell. The stories never sold.
And you may be right. I love Taika Waititi as a director and a writer. I find him absolutely hilarious. I'm hoping he did great on Ragnarok. As you had mentioned, it had such a Kirby-esque feel.
It have a great, yeah.
So here's to hoping that we don't have more shit ruined. But you know, I give up hoping anymore.
Depends on who's getting their fingers in and who he's got to answer to.
It's bottom line.
Hopefully, it's not as bad as the comics were.
Yeah, and I haven't read comics in a while. So next week, we are now hitting stinker territory. What I consider,
bad, folks.
I consider this the worst movie in the Star Wars universe. Still not as bad as the fucking Star Wars Holiday Special, but man, it's close.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Put both these in DVD right in front of me, uncut, unfiltered, uncensored, and said, Dave, which one do you want to watch?
I'm not watching the Holiday Special.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, man, it's game over on that point.
At least Jefferson Starship was in the Holiday
True that. We had, whatever. Han is very violent and kills somebody right off the bat. So
Han Solo didn't play around with stormtroopers.
No, fuck you.
Fucking Holiday Special. He throws a stormtrooper off a damn bridge.
Merry Christmas, bitches.
You have time to think on your way down, because the guy wasn't dead when he threw him off.
No, he had a long way to go. Those are some tall trees there.
That's a big tree.
Yeah.
I've done this in my life.
So next week, episode 8. I don't even know the name of the Last Jedi. My ass.
The worst Jedi.
We have problems with this one if you couldn't tell. So join us in our rant-filled, expletive-filled tirade, diatribe of whatever as we totally rip apart Ruin Johnson and The Last Jedi. See you next week.
Kathleen Kennedy.
She's all yours.
Only in griping and complaining, folks. Don't worry about it.
She's all yours. All yours. And until then, may the Force be with you.
And with you, my friend.
Always.